Hey, this is Matt once again. What about another video? This is another paid request. Thank you to all that have sent them in. I appreciate it. And for those interested requesting pretty much any type of videos, topics, reactions, commentaries, reviews, re-reviews, randomness, out of blueness, whatever it may be, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. And this is for Top Gun Maverick, also known Top Gun 2. Now, I don't mind the first Top Gun. I enjoy it. The music, Kelly McGillis and Tom Cruise, Anthony Edwards, Val Kilmer, Tom Skerritt, among other actors. A film of its time. Although, to be honest, I was more of an Iron Eagle guy. Dutch Masters, Chappie, Never Say Die, Iron Eagle. Or Queen's One Vision. I was one of those guys. I was more Iron Eagle than Top Gun. I always enjoyed Iron Eagle more than Top Gun. And again, I don't mind Top Gun, but there's other Tom Cruise films I enjoyed, like Edge of Tomorrow and Born on the 4th of July, and some of the, a lot of the Mission Impossible films. But I don't mind Top Gun. And it's ironic because with the sequel, I didn't mind it. It's okay. I think it's decent. Do I think it's a masterpiece and one of the best films I've seen in years? No. But I will say, the action scenes, the flying sequences, are wonderful, are fantastic. Using real jets, and the dogfight at the end, and the fact they're using the Hornets, and they try to be as real as possible with limited use of CG. Very competent, very credible, wonderful stuff. I just see people getting a great experience in the theater because of that. But this is one of those movies that, to me, only me, I was desperately waiting for the next one of those, because to me that's what this has going for it, and that's it. Now granted, Tom Cruise and Miles Teller, which I thought Miles Teller would have a bit more to do. He does at the very end, but for the first half, he's in it, but I don't know. I thought there'd be a bit more to it. My issue with the film is that not only do I not care about the love story, which I thought was a pale version of the love story in the first movie, which also, it's weird that they don't even mention Kelly McGillis. They don't even have a picture of her. Whether you want to say her and Tom Cruise did not get along in the making of the first film, or Kelly McGillis came out and said, nah, I'm not in the film because I'm too old. She said this, I'm too old, I'm too fat, I'm too age appropriate. The fact that there's never even a mention, a picture, nothing of it, I thought was weird. It says that's like a big part of the first Top Gun. Not only do I think the music is very lame in this, like the music is one of the big kick-ass things about the first Top Gun. The Harold Faltermeyer music, they try to do that music by Hans Zimmer doing it, but it's not the same. As in, it's a lesser, lamer version of the Top Gun theme. I just thought it was a pale imitation, and then it's more original stuff, which is very forgettable. And the songs, they use Danger Zone less than 2 minutes in. They don't use the other songs, okay, but the new songs like Lady Gaga, I didn't give a crap about Lady Gaga's song. I don't even hate Lady Gaga. I liked her in A Star Is Born with Bradley Cooper. But I didn't give a crap about the music in this. So I thought the love story was much more subpar compared to the first. I think the music was much more subpar compared to the first. I think the supporting actors were fine, but their characters are very forgettable. I dare and defy anyone to remember any of these supporting characters 5 minutes after the film's over. And the story, and again, I don't mind the film. I don't hate the movie. Would I put it on my favorite list? Yeah. But it'd be lower on the list. Again, I would probably give this, I don't know, 3 out of 5 stars. So I don't mind it. I liked it. But this felt like a remake of the first movie. And I would not be surprised if some people get mad at me for saying that. But I'm just showing my honest opinion. It feels like I just saw the same movie that came out in 1986. And if people go, well, what else can you do? Then don't make a sequel. And yeah, there are sequels I've enjoyed in the past that have done that. But I've even said I liked it, but I have an issue. Escape from LA, another 48 hours. That's what this felt like. Now, they twist things in their sequels, just like this does. But at the same time, it felt like I was watching a very similar movie. Well, how, Matt? Well, let me get into spoilers. Spoilers. I know they try to explain it online why they did this as an ode to Tony Scott, but they do the same opening as they did in the first film. You have to try and do the same type of score, only a lamer version. There's a scene where the group of pilots are having fun in a bar and singing, instead of, you've lost that love and feeling. Instead, it's great balls of fire. You have training for a mission while there's a love story, and your lead guy, Tom Cruise, is haunted by a death in the past of a loved one. It was his father in the first one. It's Goose in this one. He's fighting with a cohort, and they're clashing together, whether it be Iceman in the first one, it's Rooster, Goose's son, in this one. For the same reasons? No. But it just feels okay. Training, clashing, mission to come, love story, fun at a bar, shirtless sports. Instead of volleyball, it's football. I did your lead guy haunted by a death in the past. Remember his father in the first one? Here is Goose. Which is weird because I thought at the end of the first Top Gun, didn't he throw the dog tags out? As in, he came to terms with Goose at his death? But I guess not anymore. So I'm like, so that ending in the first one was pointless. Him throwing the dog tags, I'm going to move on from your death, Goose. But not really, because I wrote tear this for 30 years with your son, and I'm still thinking of it. And he's got like pictures of him in his locker, on his wall. He's got more pictures than people has of their girlfriends. And then, oh, you have a comrade that dies, and there's a funeral, just like Goose in the first one. In this, spoiler alert, Iceman Val Kilmer. I like the scene between Tom Cruise and Val Kilmer, but Val Kilmer, his character, Iceman, who's now the commander of the fleet, he has throat cancer, he can only type via a computer, so it's Tom having a conversation, but by reading the computer. I don't know if I want to say it's manipulative, but it was a nice scene because Tom Cruise did a nice job acting, because he doesn't know how to talk to Goose's son. Oh, is he ready for this? And then something's happened, and Iceman dies. Just like Goose died. Well, not like, it's not the same way, to be fair. But again, I'm watching all this stuff combined. People go, but it's an homage, man. It's an homage. It's an homage. Well, how many homages does it take to get to the middle of a Tootsie Pop? People were telling me the same thing when The Force Awakens and Ghostbusters Afterlife, this stuff came out. But at least this doesn't screw around with Egon and Han Solo. Okay, imagine those films if they took that portion out. That's what it made me remind me of. So yeah, it just felt like I was watching a very similar movie to the first one. Oh, they're having fun at a bar like in the first. Oh, they're playing shirtless like the first. Okay, the training. Although the training, because it's been over 30 years, is more high-tech, as it should be. It should be better action scenes, and it is. Another 48 hours. Steve from LA didn't have better action scenes. That's one of the issues with it. Although I can have fun for what it is. But another 48 hours had better action than the first. So I guess maybe because I'm not a diehard fan of the first Top Gun, and again, maybe because I'm more of an Iron Eagle fan. Maybe because I see all this masterpiece talk, and I'm like, I think it's a bit overhyped. It's a decent film. It's not a bad film. But I'm sitting there, and for the most part, I didn't really get much into the story. Even Maverick's tale, I'm like, he was kind of going through this tale in the first one. He didn't think he was good enough because his dad's legacy, and he proves himself. And this, he doesn't think, with this stuff with Goose, and he's too old, will he still make it? But he proves himself. It felt like Top Gun again. If that's what people wanted, cool. But I would like a bit more variety. I don't think it has its own identity. I know Mike, OCP, he will disagree with me 100%. Most people will. That's fine. To each their own. They did more in the spoilers in the film. Not a fan of the new version of the music. And they do the same opening. I do find it funny they use Danger Zone 2 minutes in. I thought that was like they're late. If you don't use Danger Zone, why use it then? Like, why the fuck wouldn't you use, I don't know, Danger Zone during the training scenes with all the cool flying stuff? Or use Danger Zone with the action portions? I thought they kind of used Danger Zone a bit too early. I guess they're like, let's get out of the way. Nostalgia. I would much rather just not put it in at all. I just thought it was a strange place to use that song. It's like, fine, don't use it at all then. So again, spoilers. Last time I'll say that. Tom Cruise, he's a test pilot. They're going to shut down the program. They're supposed to go Mach 9. So he's like, you know what, in order to save your jobs, I'm going to go Mach 10. They go Mach 10. Again, the flying sequences are well done. The way it's handled, the way it's directed, the way you see the cockpit, but you see a lot of the outskirts of the sky itself. Wonderful photography. Spot on. Give you credit with that. Ed Harris, he's an admiral. He only appears for 5-7 minutes at most. Tom Cruise pushes it over Mach 10. Plane blows up. He lands. And it's a joke I've seen in plenty of films do, where he lands and he goes to a diner and he's like, where is this? And I knew what the kid was going to say before he said it. And he said, Earth. And I'm like, hell, I heard that in this movie. Watchers 2. Where the fuck am I? Earth, man. Yeah, I heard that in Watchers 2. I'm like, that's such an obvious joke that I saw coming a mile away. I've just heard that joke too many times. But anyway. Again, he's not over Goose's death because at his place, he has like 4 or 5 pictures of Goose on the wall. He's got pictures of Goose in his locker. I'm surprised he doesn't have a Goose on his toilet paper. Again, so much for throwing the dog tags and being over Goose. Apparently not. He's about ready to get fired, but Iceman, who's the commander of the fleet, gets him a job to train in the Top Gun program, to train these younger pilots to stop this uranium enrichment facility. Did they ever say what country they're fighting or who it is? I couldn't tell. I swear I do not know what country it is. I don't know if that was on purpose or maybe I just missed it. So at one point he's in a bar. Miles Teller I like. I liked him as an actor. Don't mind him at all. He was in this film, I want to say, is Bleed for Me. I thought it was rather good. Definitely worth a look, Bleed for Me. And I just thought, Miles Teller's, he's good, but for a good chunk of the film, he's not really given a whole lot to play with. Pretty much, he doesn't want to talk to Maverick, and there's some friction there. Because Maverick wanted to keep Rooster now out of the certain... Pretty much you find out that the mother wanted her son to not go in the same thing the dad went through, so Maverick did that, but then he didn't tell the son so that the son wouldn't get mad at the mom, stuff like that. But yeah, Jennifer Connelly in it. Why did this need a love story? If you're not going to Killing McGillis back and you're not going to continue that, why did this need a love story? People may ask, well, what did you want to do differently, Matt, since you say it's such a remake? Don't do a love story. That would make it different. Would anyone miss the love story with Jennifer Connelly? Would anyone really sit there and say, oh man, I wish they had that, I'm going to miss that part? That would take out running time and maybe add more to Miles Teller or build up his character. All you know about his character is that he's the son of Goose. The supporting characters, there's a guy Bob, whose codename is Bob. He's nerdy. You should know it because he's got glasses, so he's a bit nerdy. Jon Hamm is one of the CEOs that doesn't want Tom Cruise there. No, there's no Tom Skerritt or any of the sort. Which would make sense by this point they'd be retired. Although, with Tom Cruise being over 60, technically his character should be retired too. He's a bit too old for this shit. But it's a movie. So, I haven't seen Jennifer Connelly in a while. They start a relationship again. Not that I give a rat's ass. I like Jennifer Connelly, but this love story went nowhere. I mean, I guess technically it did since they got together, but I just didn't think it was as interesting and definitely not as potent as the romance in the first one, in my opinion. I thought it was just a lame imitation of the romance in the first one. I can't even say imitation, it was just a lame version. It's not an imitation at that point, it's just a lame version. The other pirates goofing in the bar, instead of it did, you've lost that love and feel, and instead it's, great balls of fire. Then the pilots realize that Tom Cruise is their teacher. Of course, this guy, he doesn't know nothing. During the training, Maverick shows his moves. At least they don't make him a loser. At least they don't make him a joke. I'll give credit to that. But it's sad that with the film, I have to give credit to that. That should not be something I have to give credit for. That should be essential. That should be typical. The fact that that's the thing I have to give credit for shows how crappy films are today. It's not loser like Bill and Ted and Face the Music, or Han Solo, Luke Skywalker in Disney Star Wars, or Dewey in Scream 5. So yeah, I give credit. Maverick is not a loser and all this, but the fact that I have to give that as a credit shows how crap movies are today. And when the training happens and they're flying, that's when the movie comes alive for me. Cool flying scenes. But the story, I wish it had more of its own identity. I do. I wish it had more of its own identity. And they do more training scenes. There's more lovey-dovey stuff with Jennifer Connelly. Val Kilmer has Tom Cruise come in, they talk. Tom Cruise wants the team to get more bonding, so he has these guys play shirtless football while he watches. He's a pervert. No, I'm just kidding. Iceman, they do another training mission. One person, just during the training mission, they realize that one of the things they could do is go to Mach 10 in order to get there as fast as possible. This has been shown it to be done. One guy gets knocked out, almost dive bombs. Maverick's able to wake him up, so he's able to get out of there. Another plane, they almost get hit, and the lady who's flying it has to cool down the engines, and well, that's not the right terminology, but trying to fix the plane, they eject. Everybody's alive. Rooster has his own doubts. Maverick tries to talk to him. Then you find out Iceman died, so you have a funeral, just like we had the funeral for Goose, we had the funeral for Iceman. Just like we had the sports shirtless volleyball, sports shirtless football. You want them to get sick and tired of homages. Sick and tired of be on film. That idea of leeway to another 40 hours because that was 1990, not 2022. And I've seen too much of that. Force Awakens, Ghostbusters Afterlife. I've seen too many fucking sequels that are just homages. When there's a bit where Miles Teller and Tom Cruise, they help each other and they're behind enemy lines on the ground, that to me felt a bit different. I'm like, give me more of that. Give me more of that. Where Tom Cruise gets shot down and, I read somewhere, it kind of reminds me of Iron Eagle. Not really, but hell, fine, be a little bit more Iron Eagle. At least that would make it different from the first Top Gun. Like that scene and the dogfight where the two of them go to his enemy base and they steal a plane, they try to get back, and there's these two fighter planes. That to me was the best part of the movie. That, despite, yes, there were dogfights in the first film, that still felt unique enough that, okay, that's a little bit more your own identity. That I prefer more. Give me more of that. Halloween 2018, that did another thing. It just reminded me of the first couple Halloween films. But at least, again, Tom Cruise, solid acting. Always been a fan of him. Miles Teller, I think, did fine for what he was given to do. There's a genuine laugh. Well, before we get to that, when they do the final battle, the first part of it, I swear, reminded me of fucking... reminded me of this. Because they go in, it's the mountains, but it feels like they're going through the trench, and they're ready to defeat the Death Star. It did remind me of Star Wars. I was ready for someone to go, stay on target. Maverick, stay on target. And they have to hit the sweet spot. I was ready for Han Solo to come in and go, "Y'all clear, Maverick. Let's just take this puppy home." So that was a bit weird. I'm like, am I watching Top Gun or Star Wars? But they succeed. They're going back. Maverick helps Rooster. Maverick gets shot down. Miles Teller decides to go back. Saves Tom, so they both save each other, and they're both shot down. They're behind enemy lines. That could be interesting. They're on foot. What can they do now? Instead, they get to a plane. They fly up. That at least made it seem a bit more of his identity, like I said before. I wish there was more of that. And that's when you get some fun banter. Like, what are you doing here? You weren't thinking. And then Miles tells you told me not to think. Which is the genuine fun moment between those two characters. And that moment worked. I'm like, why can't more of the movie be like this? Instead of Miles Teller and Maverick fighting, maybe Miles Teller is a fan and is like, no, you think I hate you. You hate yourself more than I hate you. Like, maybe that could be interesting. And like Tom Cruise keeps saying, you should hate me. I killed your dad. No, you didn't. Cockpit did. Or, this glass did. Or, play around with it. But, or again, the more of that behind enemy lines thing or something, man. Cool dogfight. Good action scene. They land, they get back. I'm surprised no one said, you could be my wingman too. They succeeded. Tom Cruise goes with Jennifer Connelly. Shitty Lady Gaga song plays. And the movie's over. People get mad. Did I miss anything? Did I really miss anything? Does that not sound similar to the first Top Gun? Again, I don't mind it. I thought it was decent entertainment. It's one of those films, it's at least worth a rental. But people will see in the theater because, it's got great action set pieces that are nice to see in a theater. To me, I don't care about that because most of the time your film has to succeed on home video. Streaming. Because most of the film's life is going to be on that format. Whether it's on your TV, your computer, most of the film will be on that format. So if it doesn't work there, then it doesn't work as a movie. You can say it was a good experience in a theater, but I'm talking about the movie. The movie has to work anywhere. If you're a big fan of Top Gun, if you're a big fan of the fighter jets, there's another thing. I like the fighter jet stuff. When I think of action, I think of more fight scenes, action, gunplay, type of action, martial arts. That's more my forte with action. Fighter jets are cool. After a while, it kind of loses its luster for me, to be fair. Well, not to be fair, to be honest. But, yeah, I wish it had better music. I think Hans Zimmer dropped the ball on this. Lady Gaga, her song sucked, in my opinion. Crappy soundtrack. Or they just use songs like Great Balls of Fire and the opening of CSI Miami. Won't get fooled again. That's during a training scene. Won't get fooled again. Which I'm sure, like, if you want nostalgia with Danger Zone at the beginning, why didn't you put Danger Zone during that scene? During the training scene? Like, wouldn't that make more sense? Like, they think Maverick can't hack it, so Maverick's going to train them and show what he can do, and then you pop the Danger Zone while he's doing this. Wouldn't that make more sense than, won't get fooled again, won't get fooled again? Just maybe think of David Caruso. Start pop up and go, this flight has a one-way ticket, or your flight, it's been canceled, or Top Gun, or is it Top Gun bottom level, Yeah! So overall, like I said, I don't mind the film. It's okay. It's alright. I would say I liked Edge of Tomorrow more than this. I like some of the later Mission Impossible films, Rogue Nation and Fallout, more than this. There's a part of me that would love to have seen an Iron Eagle. Get a fucking Blu-ray, you'll get a better sequel. But that would have been hilarious. It starts playing Queen's One Vision. It's like, what the fuck? Bullshit. I think the story left a lot to be desired, and I did not want to just take this and this and this from the first film. Like I said, I like another 48 hours. But if I had my druthers, I wish they did a bit more variety with those characters for a sequel to 48 hours. Same with this. Top Gun 2 Maverick, not a bad film. I wish there's a bit more variety, a bit more, it's weird to say originality, a bit more creative juices flowing. But great technique, great photography, flight photography. That's definitely up to the standards. Absolutely. But I'm just saying, if you take that flight photography out, what you're left there is, alright, but I'm not going to sit here and say it's my favorite film of the year or in my top 5. It'd be a bit lower, but it would be in my top 10, sure. Now watch, people in the comments don't go, you hate this movie! No, I clearly said I didn't, but, people hear what they want to hear. I'm just not going to suck his dick because I don't think he deserves it. And I don't suck dick. So I'm not going to suck his clit because I don't think he deserves it. With that said, thanks for watching. We'll see you guys later.